Fellow Toastmasters, new members are important to the success of every Toastmasters club. New members mean better meeting programs, new ideas, a larger pool of potential leaders, more fun, and for our treasurer, more funds for the club. However, a host of activities and responsibilities, as Anne has just talked to us about, compete for people's times and attention. Priorities and interests change, and often members leave the club. Without enough members, clubs can't provide the positive, enjoyable, and supportive environment that's the hallmark of the Toastmasters learning program. In the words of our founder, Dr. Ralph Smedley, when he talked about getting new members, he said, "Let us share the benefits we have gained ourselves with others." When it comes to recruiting new members, every member is responsible for contributing to the success of the club and the success of our fellow members. Ensuring that the club has enough members to properly conduct club meetings is part of the members' responsibilities. Some things that members can do to help attract new members is to talk to your friends, your relatives, your co-workers. Wear a Toastmasters pin if you had one. I remember before she retired, I'm sure Connie wore her Toastmasters pin on her workwear every single workday. Share the Toastmasters magazine link, I'll mention that again later, and distribute promotional brochures and flyers, which I'll talk about later. Clubs can conduct a speechcraft workshop. Our club has done that at least 24 times over the years. We've had varied success in getting new members, but we've had astounding success in club cohesiveness and building on the skill of each of our individual members. And also, our club has social networking accounts, which I will talk about later. So of the things that Toastmasters suggests that we do, our club pretty much does those. When individuals do visit a club, the treatment they receive from current members during that visit is a strong factor in the decision whether to join a club or not. At every meeting, all members should make every effort to greet guests when they arrive at the door and when they come into Zoom. Sit with guests during a meeting, or if you're in Zoom, send messages to them in chat. Speak with guests after a meeting if possible, and invite guests to join and come out to the next meeting, as well as to join with things that we do like club contests, which are outside the club environment. And also ask them to visit again and ask them to join. A lot of people have said they would have joined the club if only they'd been asked, not our club specifically, but in general. I believe that our club is a friendly, supportive club, and we do the things that are best practices for treating our guests well. So now you've thought about, I'd like to invite a guest, but what are you going to say to those prospective guests who we hope are going to become members? You can refer to the Wild Oats recruitment cheat sheet that's been emailed to everyone. It's in our members' downloads, and Connie referred to it last week in her speech. You can tell them the where, the when, the how of the meeting so they can decide. Now, if your potential guest works in East Regina, for example, you might want to emphasize the Zoom aspect. If they work downtown, though, you might want to emphasize the in-person aspect with also the possibility of Zoom. And suppose they think, I don't have enough time at lunch. Tell them we're only 50 minutes, which will give them time to get from work to the meeting and return to their workplace. And make sure they know that guests are always welcome. They don't need a special invitation to all or any meetings. Now, what I would challenge you, everyone, to do is make a list of your prospects. Who will you invite? What are their needs? Do they need to be more organized? Do they need more confidence? Could they do a better job of conducting meetings? Make notes of that, because those are the things you're going to emphasize to them as the benefits of Toastmasters. And those are the things you can probably tell them your own story about. Next, you should plan your script. And first of all, tailor it to each person that you're talking to. When I mentioned before about emphasizing Zoom versus in person, what are the professional advantages or what are the personal advantages, depending if it's a coworker or somebody from, say, your guide group or your church group. Our cheat sheet has potential lists of things you could tell them about that. And most importantly, tell them your story, your experience, how you have benefited and grown from your experience in Toastmasters, and specifically, of course, in the Wild Oats Toastmasters Club. We have lots of supporting information. You can tell them about our club website, the Toastmasters International website, as well as our Facebook and LinkedIn sites, and we have a meetup site. There's a couple of examples of promotional material that we have. We have lots of paper copies in the room, and I'm sure that the people who are in the room every week, like Connie and Brad and Kevin, will be more than happy to give you as many copies of those brochures as you want. And if you want the online version, it's on our cheat sheet. Last week, Connie presented her Sprint to the Finish challenge. On that, she invited you to spread the word. And don't forget, next week, April 27th, is our monthly open house where Kevin will be talking about Toastmasters and taking Toastmasters into the real world. Update your profile so people can see who's in our club on the public part of the website. And write a Google review to help make people's decision to join our club easier. Toastmasters is a very personal organization in that people are brought into the club on a personal basis. A club's membership will grow best as each member becomes personally involved and invested in the club and its benefits. One enthusiastic member can bring in more prospective guests and members than any well thought out membership committee plan for membership. Always keep the club's membership efforts personal, helpful, and friendly, because we are a helpful and friendly organization and helpful and friendly club. In conclusion, I hope that we will all be able to use the information I have presented to you today to find new members for our club. And in closing, I conclude with the words of Homer, who said, "A guest never forgets a host who treated him kindly." Madam Toastmaster.